What's up everybody, first things first, in case you haven't noticed, I am making my first production in the brand new studio. That's right, I moved a couple weeks back from the time of this video, and since then I've been scrambling to kind of set this place up and make it as nice as possible. Let me know if it's taking shape, what you think about it. I'm open to feedback as it's still fairly incomplete right now. Anyway, moving over to the topic. Today we are reviewing the Redragon Azure keyboard. This is essentially their take on a 75% low profile mechanical keyboard. It is a semi-budget option, and I wanted to see how well this keyboard compares to a lot of the competition, since low profile keyboards are being released left and right nowadays. So let's get into this dead honest review and see what this keyboard has to offer. As far as packaging goes, the Redragon Azure comes in a pretty standard looking box. You have a graphical image of what you're getting and some basic branding details. Now, once you remove the protective seals and open up the box, inside you will find another black box. And inside this black box, you will find first and foremost the crown jewel. Remove all that protective packaging, and here it is, the Redragon Azure keyboard itself in the flesh. Looks pretty nice as far as first impressions are concerned. Anyway, past that, you have some standard packaging contents, which firstly includes a key plucker tool to remove the keys if you want to. You also have a couple of spare brown switches, and you have a USB-A to USB-C charging cable. Some pretty neat stuff in here. As far as design is concerned, I really like the look of this keyboard, and it's actually a really well built keyboard despite being a quote-unquote budget one. So you have a metallic top frame, so that's not just a silver color, it actually is metal. Now you'll also notice they've gone with a gray tone look here, so you have a dual tone gray with the outer keys being darker and the inner ones being lighter, though the escape key is bright orange, so they've kind of stolen a page from Keychron's book, but nonetheless I'm digging it, and you do get a couple of spare orange keycaps for some basic customization. The bottom side of the keyboard has a pretty standard plastic surface finish, but a few things worth noting. Firstly, you do have a built-in height raiser mechanism, though it's only a single tier setting one. And then you'll also notice you actually have a built-in slot for the USB-A wireless receiver in case you're not using it or you want to tuck it away, something that a lot of other low-profile keyboards don't include, with the false excuse that there's not enough space for it. This is proof right here that there is enough space for it. In the connectivity department, everything you need on this keyboard is located on the left side. So you have one USB-C port to charge it and use it in wired mode. You'll also notice you have two distinct switches. The first one is to swap between Mac and Windows mode. I appreciate having a hard switch on the side. And then the second switch lets you switch between wireless mode, Bluetooth mode, off, and wired mode. And yes, in case you are wondering, you can charge this device and use it in wired mode at the exact same time. For those of you who love RGB lighting, and personally I don't like RGB lighting, I think it's the most overhyped thing in the history of overhyped things, you will be happy to know nonetheless that you have the full RGB spectrum over here. So you have multiple preset lighting modes, and you have all the cool rainbow colors that you might want with your keyboard. And the best part is all of it can be adjusted directly from the keyboard itself, so no need for a third-party software. Additionally, this keyboard is fully hot swappable, meaning you can remove the keycaps and also the switches that are beneath them. Now, I got mine in with the brown switches, and it's worth noting these are Redragon's own in-house switches, so they're not necessarily as nice as the Redragon one, but I did find that given the price point you're paying here, having the ability to choose between red, blue, and brown switches is nice in terms of customization, but overall, the switch quality isn't bad. The brown ones are fairly tactile. You have a more hollow sounding keyboard over here, and I do find the resistance to be a little bit stronger than it should be for a brown tactile switch, but nonetheless it's still a pretty impressive typing experience. Naturally, you probably want to hear what this keyboard sounds like, so here's a quick typing test. Redragon is suspiciously mum about the battery capacity, and that's probably for a good reason because I found with the RGB lighting on at around 50% brightness, I only got around 15 hours of battery life on a single charge, so a little less than 2 days worth of workload. Though, if you do have the RGB completely off, you can get close to 2 weeks on a single charge, and a little bit more if you use the wireless receiver as opposed to Bluetooth for connectivity. Now, it's also worth noting you do have 3 LED indicators on the left side of this keyboard for the cap locks, the connection mode, and the battery status as well. With a base price of $70 US, the Redragon Azure is very much a budget slash semi-budget low profile keyboard, and when you compare it to the likes of Newfield's 875 or Logitech's MX Mini Mechanical, it's a significantly cheaper piece of hardware. Now, of course, there are certain compromises, like the build quality isn't necessarily as premium despite having a metallic exterior, and also the switch quality is considerably lower. So if you were to get, for example, Newfield's 875, you get Gateron switches, and you can feel a notable difference. But with that said, keeping the price in mind, this is not a bad keyboard. You still do get full mechanical switches, you get that sleek form factor you'd want in a low profile keyboard, and you still very much have what I consider to be a decent typing experience. If you aren't willing to dish out the extra cash some of the more reputable brands cost, Redragon's Azure is definitely a very good choice in that regard. Let me know what you think of this keyboard, if you're going to be getting this keyboard, and of course, if you've had this keyboard, I definitely want to hear your take on it. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the content, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It genuinely helps me grow, and let me know what you think of the new studio and give me all your feedback on that as well. Catch you in the next one.